What's up, my fellow YouTubers? So I figured I'd do a book review. I always loved to read since I was a kid and write as well. But lately, it's really been pissing me off that politics have become such a huge deal in fictional books. Particularly, I don't know if it's everybody, but like I've noticed, like Stephen King and Joe Hill, which is his son, there was a time when I loved to read their books, and I always knew that they were always political. Like Stephen King's always been a liberal against the war. I get it, you know what I mean? But he always knew how to separate the politics and his own personal views from his story. He'll throw in one little thing here and there, like Billy Summers, for example. He threw in a little thing about Trump, but it wasn't like being shoved down your throat. And I'm halfway through Under the Dome, and I never felt like any political views or anything was being shoved down my throat. I felt like it was like, wow, this is a good story. Let's read it. Like, I'm enjoying this. Um, and then I get to Hawley, and I'm like, what the flying fuck? It's like he took his fucking Twitter account and he put it in the fucking story, in the story. And we get it. Okay, we get it. You don't like Trump. We fucking get it. But do you have to cram it down our fucking throats when we're trying to enjoy the story and the characters? I love Hawley. I love the Hodges trilogy. Okay, and If It Bleeds was phenomenally awesome. I wish it was longer. It was like a novella. And what he did was, he explained it in the back of the book when you're finished with it, is that he was almost, I don't know, somebody almost asked him to rewrite If It Bleeds, and he said, no, because I already wrote it. But basically, he had a choice of, he explains it, that he could have wrote it as if he wrote If It Bleeds, which is basically mentioning about COVID, mentioning about politics, but not as much sticking to the main story, which he should have did in fucking Hawley, but he didn't. It's crammed down your throat that he hates Trump. It's crammed down your fucking throat that if you didn't think that COVID was like some kind of made up fairy tale, that you were in the wrong. And if you died from COVID because you thought that getting vaccinated wouldn't help, that the whole thing was about how you felt about COVID or Trump, or how you didn't feel about COVID or Trump, being constantly shoved down your throat as you're trying to enjoy the story. And it was really not as fun to read as some of his older older books for that reason. Yet at the same time, it had a Criminal Minds feel to it and a Salem's Lot feel to it. So I tried my best to ignore the shit out of like politics being crammed down your throat. I feel like no matter what side of the fence you're on, whether you're left wing, right wing, I registered as independent. Whether you like Trump, hate Trump, it shouldn't matter. Your political views and how you feel about COVID or Trump or whatever shouldn't be shoved down your throat as you're trying to enjoy a fictional story. You buy the book to get away from that bullshit, not to fucking be shoved in it. And I've noticed the same thing with Joe Hill, the different seasons one, Strange Weather. That's what it was. Was that book one was fucking phenomenally awesome, and I thought all the other three were gonna be like it. Book one is vintage Stephen King all the way. It's like you enjoy it. It takes place back in like '88. It's a lot like, I think, The Sundog. It's been a while since I read it, from Four Past Midnight, I think it was. Well, anyways, it was a lot like Stephen King's book, The Sundog, or something with a picture. I can't remember exactly because there's so many books they wrote, but I was like, wow, I love that. And then book two, I was reading it and I was like, what is this? This isn't even a horror novel. It's not even. It's like this political gun issue type of thing. By the end of that second story, I enjoyed it. The third story was a little bit strange. but I enjoyed it because it wasn't too political. And then the fourth story was really political. At the same time, it was entertaining enough not to really let that distract you from enjoying it. It had the end of the world, Children of the Corn cult type of thing. It was entertaining. It was really good. But like I really feel like if you're a popular fictional writer, I mean, Fairy Tale was phenomenal. I friggin' love Fairy Tale. It was just like the Dark Tower kind of type of thing. But I really feel like if you're a fictional writer, you should put the political views aside as best you can and leave it on fucking Twitter. Okay? Leave that for Twitter. Separate Twitter from your fucking fiction. That's how I feel. How do you feel about like horror writers nowadays, like cramming that down your throat as you're trying to read? Do you feel like it's too much, or do you feel like, okay, that's just a reflection of society now the way it is? Let me know in the comments. I did enjoy Holly. I did give it a 5-star just because Stephen King has and always will be, even after he's gone, his works are going to be timeless. You know, you're always going to, and Joe Hill he's going to pass the torch to him. He even said it, that Joe could finish it if something happened to him. And Joe is just as good. But again, they should separate their talent for writing fiction apart from their Twitter account and their political views. That's just how I feel. Let me know in the comments how you feel about fictional writers cramming politics down your throat nowadays. All right, peace out, my fellow YouTubers.